In today's video, we're exploring Highland Homes, one of the newer builders to come to Easton Park. We're going to explore two of their homes. Actually, they're two only available completed homes right now. One's listed at $599,000, the other's listed at $661,000. Talk about the pros and cons of each, and talk about the incentives they're offering. Just kind of get a sense of what Highland's offering in Easton Park. We're going to get after it right now. Hey, Daniel here, your local Easton Park real estate expert. If you're thinking of making a move to Easton Park, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on the latest real estate news. You know, I was a teacher for 10 years before I jumped into real estate. I was a band director, I taught percussion. And I found that a lot of the skills and values that I thought was important as an educator have worked out really well in being a real estate agent. Honesty, hard work, effective communication, and really caring about other people and their goals is still really important to me. So it doesn't matter if you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom call. I'd love to help you and your family find a great home and a great deal in our beautiful neighborhood. I've lived in Easton Park since 2021. I don't see myself leaving here anytime soon. I really love this community. So regardless if you are moving here now or thinking of moving here in the future, if you have other communities, feel free to reach out if you just want to hear from a neighbor, kind of get to know more about Easton Park. A couple things about the community and what we're looking at today. So community HOA here is $71 a month. The tax rate is roughly between 2.58 to 2.71, kind of depending on the section of Easton Park you're in. You pay a little bit more because we're part of a municipal utility district or MUD, and so you're basically paying off the developer's bond to develop the land and the sewer system, the drainage system and all that. And then as far as what we're looking at today, we're looking at Highland Homes, okay? They are building in Prospect Park, which is the biggest section of Easton Park that's currently being built out. Easton Park is expected to be completed by 2037. It's just going to keep going further and further south, okay? And they are building more and more commercial out here finally, so I can tell you as someone who lived here when I couldn't get through certain roads because cows were blocking my path. We are long past those days, and we have a McDonald's, we have a Chick-fil-A opening soon, we have an HEB that should be open at the end of 2027, so there's a lot more commercial being built out here. But where we are right now in Prospect Park, you kind of have four options as far as builders. You have Highland, you have Brookfield's single family homes, which are the lowest price, they'll be in about the 500,000s. And then you have Taylor Morrison and Perry. Okay, Perry homes are between mid 700 to the 900,000s. And then Highland and Taylor Morrison are between about 600 to 750, that range. So we're looking at two Highland homes today, listed in around the low to mid 600,000s. But yeah, that kind of gives you a sense of kind of where you are right now, what you can compare these to. So I'll see you at house number one. All right, so the first house we're checking out is listed at $599,000. This is a 2,620 square foot home, 2-story, 2-car garage, 4-bed, 4.5 bathrooms. So each bedroom gets its own bathroom. This house has actually been on market for a couple months, and they've actually dropped it by $60,000 from its original value. So getting it to $599 originally was closer to $660,000. Pan around so you can see where we're at. Right, more finished homes along the street. Finishing up a couple there, that's all done. And then we have a couple empty lots over here as well as behind the home. Yeah, let's check this one out. Beautiful exterior. I really like the stone that they did, this darker stone, and then painting it green with the hardy plank and the garage. This is a very steep incline, I will say. I know for a lot of people that does matter. Full gutters, and then interesting lighting fixtures. Kind of weird. Out. Beautiful front door with that wavy glass, letting in natural light but keeping it somewhat private. So we have LVP flooring as soon as we walk in. You can see super tall ceilings. Looks like they went with black hardware throughout, which I'm a big fan of. So black handles, black hinges, black knobs. So the first room we have here is the office. Like the two windows, looking out to the front. It's great, decent amount of space in here. I do wish I had some sort of closet, but it's fine. You can do built-in shelves after the fact. And then utility room's a little tight, but I do like they have these built-in shelves behind the door. That's really nice, especially because we don't have cabinets up here. I probably wouldn't put anything up here, right? I just put it all behind the door, keep this looking nice and clean. And then a little closet space here. So you could use this because it is super close for office supplies. It is right outside your door. All these are 8-foot tall doors throughout the first floor. Going this way now, we have our first guest bedroom. It's okay size, about 10 by 11 feet maybe, just the one window. Still 8-foot doors. And they have a linen closet just outside of it. Their first full bathroom. Really like this cabinet, that looks great. Again, like the black fixtures throughout. Yeah, it's a little boring as far as the tile is the same floor against the wall there, and they didn't go all the way to the ceiling. That would have been really easy. I do like that they have the built-in shelf though. Not every builder does that. It kind of depends on the tile they chose. So this one, they chose a tile that works with. All right, turning left here, we have our half bath, my favorite bathroom. Look at that floor. It's a really cool design for the floor. Definitely to paint the walls to make it work. It's kind of boring everywhere else I look. But yeah, this is nice. It's a decent amount of space. I do wish it wasn't a pedestal sink. It's nicer to have the cabinet there, but again, good amount of space. I do like they have this on every single bathroom. So you have the timed vent. It's kind of somewhat unnecessary in this room because there's no shower, but in the others, if you're taking a shower, you just kind of hit the 20, and then the vent comes on, and then it automatically turns off after 20 minutes. It's something I have in my house. I really like they did that in every bathroom in this house. It just helps prevent mold. Suck up all the water particles as you're showering. Here is our 2-car garage. I like the natural light coming in, and it's super tall. I'm 6'1" and I can't see, someone walking their dog on the street. So I like the privacy while letting in natural light. I mean, the lights aren't on right now, so a ton of natural light in the garage, which is really nice. We have a rainbird irrigation system for the backyard and front yard. We have an EV charger. Even if you don't have an EV, that's just nice to have for resale value in the future. Tankless water heater, which is great. It's gonna be more energy efficient than a regular water heater tank, and then water softener loop if you choose to add that on. Good amount of space, really good amount of space. We have that extra pushed out section here, and then looking from the wall to the door, it's about 1.5 feet, 18 inches either side. So you could actually fit 2 cars in this space. It is a good amount of space. Probably looks a little small because there's so much stuff in here right now. But I think it looks good. And then we have some hooks here. I wish they put a bench here. Again, pretty easy to add that after the fact though. There's some storage underneath the stairs. Not a ton of storage, but it's something. Then I come to the main living area. So kitchen, living room. I really like how Highland does their living room. So we have this built-in cabinets, built-in hutch underneath where you would put the TV, and then built-in shelves, floating shelves either side. That looks great. I'm glad that already is installed. Ton of natural light coming in from those windows. We do have a waterfall island either side. That looks great. Not the biggest island. They do offer bigger ones. You can comfortably fit 3 seats here. I wouldn't do 4. Interesting light fixture here. I'm not sure if I keep that, but they're keeping the black look going. All right, that's where the fridge would go. Built-in oven and microwave. They did not put handles on the cabinets. I do like that they went with the white up top and then the wood look on the bottom. It's a little bit more interesting variety there. No soft close. Backsplash is cool. At first glance, it looks like just your typical subway tile, but it has this texture to it, so that looks really nice. And then we do have the built-in range, so we do have drawers underneath. I appreciate they did that. You can see these are Kent-Moore cabinets, so they're higher quality cabinets throughout the home. I do wish Highland did wider ranges. I've noticed, I think this is a 30-inch. I might be wrong on this, but something along the lines of this is a 30-inch wide, and the next one up is like a 36-inch wide. It does make a difference if you cook a lot and you're trying to put like 3 pans on here. It's just, it gets really tight. So that's one annoyance I have with how they do their built-ins. It's a little shorter compared to other builders. We have a corner pantry here. Good amount of space. I like the lighting underneath cabinets. It's really easy. Pull out trash. And then adding handles really isn't too difficult. I did it myself in my first house. It's not that hard. Single basin sink, I will say, the Blanco, the white, this one does stain easily, so just be aware you need to get a certain thing that will clean it from coffee stains and all that. And it looks like we have a water purifier, so if you get the reverse osmosis system, then you can get drinking water right from there, which is a nice touch. Really cool. I like this veins going through the stone. That's great. And then we have our, I guess this would be the traditional dining. There's really nowhere else to put it, so I was gonna say breakfast nook, but no, this is the dining room. It's pretty small if you are interested in having a large formal dining table. It's kind of the only place you could put it. Very cool patio. I really like this patio. So I like that they kept that dark stone going back here. That really gives it a cool look. I like that we have the gas out right here, so you can put your grill right next to it. There's already a spot for it. Attach it, you never need to worry about buying a propane tank. You're always gonna have access to gas for cooking. Really good amount of space in the yard too. This is all covered also, and then that is wired if you wanted to add a fan in there. And then enough space if you wanted to add a TV, right? We have an electrical outlet here. So that looks great. There will be homes back here, right? You can see that green trash. That's obviously not gonna stay. So these are just empty lots, but eventually you'll have, I don't know, probably 2-3 more homes built in this area. Probably 2 more homes. And then just so you can see the side of the house, Highland does a good job of doing rocks. So it makes it much easier for maintaining the landscaping. Yeah, I like this a lot. This back patio, this backyard, it's great. I don't really care if you don't have enough space for a dining area. Personally, I just have the one table, but I know some people that is important to them. All right, primary bedroom. So, carpeted primary bedroom, boo. I know some people like that, I don't. We have the vaulted ceiling, that's great, right? Very, very tall vaulted ceiling. Very large bedroom. I do like that we have the bench built in here, so my cats would love that. That's where they're hanging out. And then just the 2 windows. I wish we could have done a 3rd window, but it's okay. It's a decent amount of natural light coming in here. Also the tall trim, that's a must, especially when you have super tall ceilings. Having that's a really nice upgrade. All right, the primary bathroom. So we do have a soaking tub. Very deep, not the longest tub, I will say. Really like this window, massive window. And it's already frosted, you don't need to do anything to it. I never like when builders put blinds in the bathroom, that always looks weird to me. This looks great, ton natural light, love it. 2 sinks, right, dual vanity. I do wish we had the widespread. Again, I'm being really picky because I've built the house that I live in. Or I didn't build anything, but I did the custom, pick the lot, do the upgrade you want. And so I really like the widespread, kind of like this, right? Where they're separate, it's just easier to clean in between. I think it looks a little bit nicer. Again, small thing that I'm just noticing here. But again, I do like that we have the timed vent. Plenty of countertop space in here, that looks great. Massive mirrors. Some people would like to change that. We don't really have any interesting fixtures over them. It's just the recessed lights. So something you can definitely change after the fact. Shower's kind of a bummer to me. So it is sunk in, that's cool. It's kind of tight. And so it's so tight, you don't really have room to put a bench. I do like that we have 2 shelves here built in. That looks great. I like that, not just floor to ceiling, but floor to wall. This is all the same tile, which I like. I'm happy they didn't just stop there, like at the window, they went that extra foot. But yeah, I wish the shower was a little bit bigger. Honestly, it's probably because of the soaking tub. So if this was a huge deal, you could just do the custom build, right? And choose to not have a tub in your primary and then have an extended shower. That's probably the route I would go, but to each their own, right? You can easily put a stool down there, make it work. Toilet, and then primary closet space. It's okay. It's not the biggest closet, and it's not got the most variety as far as you just have the one level for hanging clothes, and that's it. They didn't put any built-in shelves in or anything like that, so you're gonna need to do some stuff probably in here to customize it, make it more efficient for storing clothes. All right, I feel like I'm talking too much. Let's go upstairs. Looking at the time for this part of the video. All right, carpeted stairs. Not my favorite, but it is what it is. That's more typical. I do like this layout though, with how the upstairs works with the downstairs. So, all right, open to the downstairs. This is just entrance to the attic. There's really not much to do in here, right? You just see the insulation. There's not a ton of area you can even store things in, so kind of odd in my opinion. This door's even here. You're not really gonna ever need it. Here is our upstairs loft. I like how this is situated because if you have this area and say you put a TV here or whatever, there's just people being loud up here, there's sounds being up here. Yes, that's open, but as long as they're over here, that really blocks a lot of the sound from bleeding downstairs. So you kind of get best of both worlds where this is separated, but then if you need to talk to someone, you're 5 steps away from just talking over the banister to the rest of the family downstairs. And then this overlooks the front entrance, which is a nice little touch. And you do have your own AC upstairs. All right, this is bedroom number 3. So we had 2 downstairs, the primary and the first guest. So here's the second guest room. Nothing really to write home about, kind of typical bedroom. I'm sure this is a linen closet, yep. And then full bathroom for that guest room. Again, nothing really amazing. It's a good amount of space, I think, but it's the same materials we've seen before, so nothing too exciting. And then second bedroom upstairs. I really like this one. A little bit bigger, way more natural light, overlooking the front of the house, down the street. Another aspect too to consider, not a big deal, especially here because there's a ton of street parking regardless, but that neighbor, right? That neighbor, that's the front of their house. You have all this space next to their house. So if you did have a lot of people, coming over, not a ton of space here, right next to your neighbor over here, a little bit over here, right, depending on what they build there. But you do have a lot of space on that side of the street too, which helps for large gatherings. And then final bathroom. I do like this bathroom a lot. It's the same materials as the previous one, but you do get a big window and looking out, which is rare in the guest bathroom. So, cool, there you have it. This was, I'm gonna have to look it up. The floor plan, I'm losing it. I'll tell you in 30 seconds in the video. But the next home we're gonna look at is their Van Gogh floor plan. And so I think, yeah, let's look at that one and I'll give you my thoughts, pros and cons between each. But I do like this one a lot, so I'll see you over at the Van Gogh. All right, so the last house we were at was the Torres floor plan. Now we're checking out the Van Gogh floor plan. Very different, but also some similarities. So this one is very close. Square footage is 2,613 square feet, so just 7 square feet smaller than the last one. It is a 1-story home. This one's listed at $661,000. It is a 4-bed, 4-bath, 2-car garage. Pan around so you can see where we're at. They are very much building on this street right now. Yeah, let's check this out. The front of this house is beautiful. It is really pretty what they did here. So we have that lighter stone on the bottom, right? And then these really interesting, like, fake wooden shutters that are open. I don't know, I've never seen that before. That looks really cool. And then this kind of cream white color for the hardy plank. Really cool. I really like the front of this house a lot. And then the door they chose, the color works really well. These extra beams here look great. Yeah, let's check it out. Beautiful front door for both homes. I think this door wins. To the left here, a little dark. I'm gonna change that light out. Well, just a single window, that's part of the reason. So this is the office space. A little sad. I don't know why they didn't put 2 windows in here. As we tour this one, we're gonna play the game, why is this worth $60,000 more than the previous house? This one just came on market, so yeah, I'm sure if it sits on market for a month or 2, they'll lower the price. Here's the first guest bathroom. Like the walk-in shower versus the tub, that's nice. I do wish they went to the ceiling. Again, not a big deal. I like that they have some tile down there, that herringbone style. That'll come into play again later when we go into the kitchen. But you're probably seeing a lot of the same materials, right? I mean, it's the same cabinetry. It's the same flooring as the previous home. They went with black handles, black fixtures with this home too. Still 8-foot tall doors. To the right here is actually the garage. Garage is extremely similar to the last one. So you still have the EV charger, the windows super tall there, right? Rainbird irrigation system, tankless water heater, access to the attic for changing out your air filter. This one probably has a little bit more room over here compared to the previous one, but still about 1.5 feet from the wall to the door, which is great. So really wide, good amount of space in here. Again, hooks with no bench. I wish we added a bench, not a big deal. Here is the next bedroom. This one does have an ensuite. Actually, no, it doesn't. It has a Jack and Jill. So before we get into that, something else they do, they have these bronze frames. I know that the builder will do this as an upgrade. So if you're building the home just from scratch, you can choose to get that or not get that. Personally, I don't really even notice them half the time, but a lot of people, it's really important to them. So this is probably part of the reason why this is a little bit more expensive. Not sure if the last house had this kind of bronze look frame around all the windows. I might be wrong, you can rewind and check that, but I did notice that as I was walking through the home earlier today. All right, then we have this Jack and Jill. So sink here, door, toilet, tub, not floor to ceiling, boo. And just the one shelf there. And then door, sink, door, leading almost through that bedroom, but just leading outside it. Personally, personal opinions right now, okay? I don't really like Jack and Jill. Again, personal opinion. I get it if you have small kids and you kind of want them to have a shared bathroom, but maybe their own separate sleeping space. This kind of makes sense. But I just don't like how tight this is, right? It's really difficult if more than one person is trying to use the bathroom. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this, but again, I don't have kids. So I get it if this works well for you in your stage of your life where you want kids to have separate rooms and just have a shared long bathroom, maybe this does make sense for you. But personally, I just wish they made them wider. I don't understand why the doorways have to be so tight for every Jack and Jill I've ever been in. But there it is, so that's the Jack and Jill bathroom. Now, before we get to the main living area, what we kind of skipped on, we have our utility room here, much bigger utility room than the previous house. Same style as far as keeping the shelves, this one's just more open. I like the amount of space, but I think I prefer the other one where the shelves were hidden behind the door, and so it just will probably look cleaner when it's actually lived in. This is the first thing you see, so I wish that was a little closed off, or we had cabinets that were closed off just to make it look a little cleaner. This room's great. So this is a perfect mother-in-law suite, really good amount of space. And then they have their ensuite full bathroom. Again, nothing too exciting with the building materials. The backsplash for the tub is the same as the flooring here. It's the same faucet, same cabinets we've seen everywhere. There's really not much customization going on in these inventory homes. And that's more of a, you can see the closet here. That's more of a, if that bothers you or you really want to customize, like say you have a little bit more money to spend, you can go the to-be-built route. I always like going that route if you have the time, right? If you're thinking 5-6 months in advance, because you're also picking the lot placement, you're picking the floor plan that works best for you, and then you get to pick how you want to build out each room, if you want to customize your bathrooms, pick your own tile, stuff like that. So I like that. It's not too much more expensive, but if your whole goal is just, I need to move now, or I need to move at the lowest price possible, inventory homes are the way to go. All right, so we've had 2 bedrooms, Jack and Jill, right? Mother-in-law suite, and then over there was the office. So now we're coming into the main living area. This is where this house shines. So to the right, look at that ceiling, amazing. To the right, we have our living area, right? Living room, massive. And then this kitchen is gorgeous. This is a much nicer kitchen. This island is huge. It is fat. It is a wide island, super, super deep. Waterfall on either side, just like the last one, just way more space on this island. And then we have stainless steel, kind of looks like a farmer sink almost. This is really, really nice. Farmhouse sink, I should say, not farmers. Same range as before. The backsplash is much nicer. They got the herringbone style, so much nicer backsplash throughout. Really interesting what they did with doing some of the lower cabinets, style color here in the middle. I wish they went with the kind of the glass or something different, but again, it's whatever. And then going back to the white, natural light above, that's a really nice touch. Built-in oven, built-in microwave, as you would expect. Then you have a butler's pantry back here, so even more space. I mean, so much space for storing everything. And it's out of sight. So yeah, you can actually keep your countertops nice and clean. Something else I forgot to point out last one, I like that they have these pop-up ones. If you're unaware, I think starting last year, builders had to stop putting the electrical outlets on the side of islands. And so some builders have started doing this. Some builders have just wired it, so you have to get an electrician after the fact to install the electrical outlets on the exterior. But I like it when builders have this already to go. So you have 2 outlets either side of that. Let's check out the backyard. All right. I think I prefer the back patio of the previous house a little bit more. So this is more the corner patio, right? We do still get a gas outlet, which is good. As far as the swing of your neighbors, their house is swung the same way, which is good. So their patio isn't right next door to yours. There's this on their corner also, so that's good as far as from a privacy standpoint. We do have a retention wall for this specific lot, so there will be a house there, so they're gonna be built a little bit higher. A decent amount of privacy. Okay amount of space. I mean, it's not the most amount of yard space. I don't know. I think I just prefer the traditional back patio centered with the house, looking out to the full yard space. This is okay, but if we're comparing, which is basically what I'm doing this whole video, I think the other house wins. This definitely wins for kitchen. Now, is it $60,000 worth more kitchen? That's for you to decide. Built-in hutch here, so there's more, right? Probably a drinks area, however you want to use that space. And then living room area. Once that house is built, I'm sure it'll be a little prettier, but still it's not the prettiest view. So compared to a more typical home floor plan where the windows would be looking out to your backyard, this one, not as good of a view. And then we don't have any built-ins for this part either. So I do think the last living room was a little bit nicer just because it was already built out. Linen closet. No carpet, good job. Definitely prefer no carpet. Tall ceiling just like the last one, bench just like the last one. And then bathrooms very similar. So tub, shower, same size. They haven't put the frosting on the window yet. We definitely need to ask them to do that. Smaller countertop, we don't have as much space between the sinks. Yeah, still no bench. They actually went lower with the shelves here. They have to put it on the grout line, but it's just something I noticed, not a huge deal, unless you're super, super tall. And then, not the most fun closet. It's okay, it's not great. You're gonna have to add some stuff to make use of all the space, So yeah, there you have it. Those were the only 2 that Highland has available right now. They're building a few more, but you know, they're the newest builder in the neighborhood. They're only building in Prospect Park for now. And so if you're looking in Prospect Park, this part of Easton Park, you know, as far as price, I think Highland is a decent choice. They do have room for bringing the price down. So for both of these houses, you're looking at about $20,000 for closing costs / bringing the rate down. Just $20,000 less you have to bring to the closing table, which is great. So you can probably come to closing with 0 money out of pocket. It's just for your down payment that you need to pay for, right? And then obviously your earnest money. So I do like the incentives they're having right now with just helping you with closing costs. But as far as the price, I don't know, their product's so interesting. It's just so different. If you really like, I think they shine with their kitchens. I think their kitchens are really nice. And then depending on the floor plan, I liked how upstairs was built out. I like that there's so many bathrooms per bedroom, especially in the previous one. Again, I'm not a big fan of Jack and Jill. So I would compare Highland to Taylor Morrison. I think that's the closest comparison. I wouldn't compare them to Brookfield single family homes. I think they're much nicer than that. I wouldn't compare them to Perry single family homes because Perry's we're looking at another 200 grand more than this. So they're in a different price range and they're typically a little bigger than this. So between this and Taylor Morrison, that's kind of what you would need to figure out with your realtor, or with me if you don't have a realtor, is looking at both of those and figuring out which is the best for $660,000 or $599,000. Where's your money going to be placed best for? They're just very different products. But I hope this video helped y'all kind of understand Highland a little bit better, get to know what their product looks like. It's very obvious when I walk into a home and it's a Highland home. I don't know why, but they just have little things that make it very, very clear this is definitely a Highland home. I do like the materials they use. I like their customer service. I think they do a good job of building the neighborhood. They're just the newest builder. And so I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. But if you are thinking of buying or selling real estate, it doesn't matter if you'll move in 9 days or 90 days, you can always give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a Zoom call. All of that can be found in the description below. I'd love to help you and your family find a great home, negotiate a great deal, and really just be your personal advisor, right? I don't really sell people homes, right? You can tell if you watch my videos. I'm not really saying this is a great house, you should buy it. I'm pointing out what I'm seeing, right? And that's what I do with my clients. I make sure I try to point out potential problems in a home that maybe they haven't thought of, or potential great things of a house, or it's like, hey, this would work for this. Remember you have dogs, or remember you have children. All these things are important factors. So if you need someone on your side to help you, advise you through probably the biggest purchase of your life, you can always reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. And I'm gonna stop rambling and talking to a camera. So reach out if I can help in any way. Until next time, hope to see you guys around the neighborhood.